Hello and welcome back to another episode with myself. My name is Rob Dianovich and I'm an education agent here at Education Without Borders, where my goal is to help you to build a better career to support you and your family in the future. If this is the first time that you're here, welcome. If you've been here before, fantastic. I really appreciate you and the time that you spend with myself today. In today's video, what I'm going to do is talk about how your employer can sponsor your student visa process from your home country to study here in Australia. There are many benefits of why your employer from your home country would sponsor your student visa to come to Australia. So a couple of these examples include learning new technologies, maybe expanding the organization's network, building additional skills that can be brought back home to share with your colleagues. Also, just looking at how things are done differently, where you may be able to help your organization to improve on efficiencies, costs, maybe quality, those kind of things as well. So there could be a reasonable return on investment from your employer by sending you to Australia to learn the skills that you need so that when you go home, they are quite valuable to your organization. So what I'm going to demonstrate today is a guide of a letter that your employer can complete on your behalf to support your application process for your student visa to study here in Australia. So let's get started. Welcome. Now, it's not often that an employer is willing to sponsor you from your home country to come and study here in Australia. It's quite a significant investment on their behalf to have the faith and the trust in yourself that you're going to come to this country and study, learn the skills that you need to, and take that back home to your home country and share that with your employer, your fellow colleagues, and help to improve the organization that you work for. It's quite an honor to have that bestowed upon you. Now, let's go through together with the guide that I've developed to help you and your employer to better support your visa application. So the one thing I really want to clarify here is that this is a guide only and can be interchangeable, but there are some relevant things that you'll need to maintain. So for example, I've got a name here called company letterhead. So whenever you present a formal document to the Department of Home Affairs, you need to ensure that your documents are authenticated and they're true and they're correct. So the way I started this letter off was by saying, to whom it may concern, my name is, and then what you would do is you would enter your boss's name here, right? The full boss's name, and I am and then you would add the position and title. So for example, the CEO. So let's say, for example, my name is Robert Dianovich and I am the CEO of Education Without Borders. So it just clarifies nice and cleanly who the person is that represents the company, what is their title, and what is the company name, along with all the relevant company details up the top. I'm providing this letter on behalf of our company to support the employee's name. So that's where your name would come into it. So let's say, for example, your name is John Smith or Jane Smith. You would make sure that your name is present there. In applying for a student visa for Australia, to undertake the following course or courses. So if it's one course, you would just say course. If it's 2 or 3 courses, let's say, for example, you're undertaking a packaged course where you might, for example, complete a certificate 3, then go on to do a certificate 4, then maybe a diploma. So that would be classed as courses, so plural. And here's a couple of examples of what I added. So let's say, for example, you've got insert course name and details. So an example of this is full description of your course, i.e. Diploma of Business at XYZ Institute, Melbourne, Australia. So it's nice and clear to the person that's assessing your application. You know what the course is that you're going to undertake. You know what institution you're going to study at. You know what the location is and where. And then you would continue that until you add all your specific courses. Or if it's just one, you just delete one of the lines there, and then you've just got the one. So then I continue this letter by saying, I understand that our employee will be studying in Australia for the duration of, and then here you would add in how long this is going to be for. So let's say, for example, is it going to be weeks? Is it going to be months? Is it going to be years? And at present, there is a job waiting here for when the program or programs, so depending on how many you have, has or have been completed and the employee has returned home. So what this does is this demonstrates to the assessor that you're coming to Australia on genuine grounds, that your focus is to get the skills that you need to get and then go home and provide those skills back home. So you're showing that you are a genuine student. Let's continue. We feel that the course or courses undertaken will be a benefit to our employees' skills and our organisation by undertaking the studies in Australia as opposed to other countries and here at home. So what you're doing is you're clarifying, just like you would in your genuine temporary entrant or your statement of purpose letter, that the reason why you're coming to study in Australia is because this is a specific skill that you will struggle to find back home or in another country. The reason for this is because Australia has a strong education system, and we feel that our employee would bring back and share the advanced new skills acquired that otherwise could not be achieved here at home. So it's just nice and clear of why your intent is to study in Australia and not another country. Our focus is to be an employer of choice and gain competitive advantage. So we saw this as an investment opportunity where our employee would have the ability to study abroad, gain good exposure to the Australian culture and way of life, helping to benefit our company for the future. So this is nice and clear to, again, reinforce why it is that you're wanting to study in Australia as opposed to somewhere else. And being exposed to, say, Western culture can also help with things like customer service, can help you to improve your English language. If the company has a requirement for where you may need to have dual languages, like your native language plus English for maybe tourists and things like that as well, it all comes into it. To ensure our employee is supported to study in Australia, we will be providing the following. So what this section here is, this is a dot point section that I've added. Now you can leave some of them can come out. It depends on the circumstance of what your employer is willing to provide on your behalf. So some things that they may consider applying on your behalf or providing on your behalf is the application costs associated for visas and or migration agent consultation, payment of wages and entitlements whilst the staff member is studying, living and working in Australia. Now that's a big one. If, let's say, for example, if there's an opportunity for you to continue to work on behalf of your company in Australia, so continue to earn your wages that you would back home, and that would be a big benefit to yourself, to your family, to your employer, because they may not want to lose a valued employee like yourself. So it gives them that little bit of flexibility. And you've seen through the pandemic where people have been able to work from home. So just because you're in a different country, and if you're still able to demonstrate that you can work from home, this can still be a possibility for you. The next step is payment of expenses such as accommodation, bills, food and travel. The next one is payment of the tuition fees and relevant study materials to the institution. So that's a big one, because if your employer is focused on paying just this alone, that's going to save you thousands of dollars, and it's going to help you to demonstrate your financial capabilities for that you can support yourself whilst you're still studying here and living here in Australia. The cost of overseas student health cover. So that's something that you will also need for the duration of your studies. And then I've just added any other matters. So there may be some other specific things there that we may have not considered that your employer is willing to pay for. Let's say, hypothetically, for maybe your internet, or let's say they're going to cover your cost for fuel. Now, you could argue that might come under other expenses, but the clearer you are in this section, the better. The next part is we have estimated that this support package would be an estimated sum of, so there, based on what you feel is going to be the costs that are covered in Australian dollars, you would put that in there as a sum. Now, the reason for this is because, again, as I mentioned earlier, it helps to determine your financial viability for how you're going to support yourself when you're in country. I have enclosed the employee's contract as proof of employment. This is really important to add this as a document, just to demonstrate that you have a relevant contract with your current employer. Should you require any further information or need any other supporting documents, please feel free to contact me at the below details. So here, your employer would add their signature once the letter is completed with their full name, their contact details. So the Department of Home Affairs may wish to contact them if there's any other specific type of documents. Normally, they may do this by email, so you also would be advantageous to add the employer's email address and the date that the letter was completed on as well. So that letter is a guide. It is interchangeable, but for something that you don't need to build from scratch, it's there. And if you would like a copy of this guide, click on the link below in the descriptor and enter your email address, and a copy of this will be sent to you. There are many different types of employment visas that can be accessed. And please remember, I'm an education agent, not a migration consultant. And so if you need further information about specific employment-based visas, do let me know, and I'd be more than happy to link you up with a qualified migration agent who can provide you with more advice on this. My goal is to look at it from a student visa perspective, and that's where my focus is. I just wanted to provide one final note here and say that your employer is really trusting you, and I feel that if they're going to put this faith and the trust in yourself to become a better employee for them, try to do the best that you could possibly do, learn as much as you possibly can, and aim to share that when you go back home, as not many people get the opportunity that you're provided with. So if you found this video useful today, please click on the like button, and please also share it with your friends and family if you feel that it's going to benefit them as well. Don't forget, you can always book a free 1-hour consultation with myself if you want to talk about any other things in further details. And also feel free to add your comments below, as I love reading them and I love responding to them as well. So I'll see you in the next video.